It's your favorite shit talking squirrel, back for the Darrell video. We got an awesome episode of CaseWatch for you guys today. As you probably saw in the title, we were able to do the big get, the big fish. We had the big bookings. We brought in Amanda Paige and Coffee Cake for an all-star Darrell Brooks panel. If you're in the Darrell Brooks community, you've probably seen these people lurking in the comments pages, getting all kinds of likes and upvotes and replies. They're very much in the zeitgeist of Darrell Brooks on YouTube. They were a very desired guest for a long time, and I was finally able to land it. I was able to land the big fish. For you, for my viewers, I bring you the best of the best. The big guns, I brought them out just for you. Just for you. You watching right there. You sitting right there. You. I did this for you. So you better be appreciative. But yeah, I'm really proud of this one. Officer Bryce Sholton was one of the most requested clips I get for CaseWatch. So I really tried to make this a good recording. We were on such a roll, the commentary is flowing so well, we ended up going for like almost 2 hours. So this episode is actually going to be split up into 2 parts. The first one you're watching here right now on YouTube, that's free. And the second part's going to be up on Patreon. All you need to do is pledge to the Squirrel Pup tier. It's only $1. There's like 4 or 5 additional videos up there. Plus you'll get to see the second part of this CaseWatch recording with Amanda Paige and Coffee Cake and a few others. It was really good. I think the commentary speaks for itself. I was really happy with the way this came out, so I'm not going to waste a lot more time talking about this. But while you are there on Patreon, if you like this format and you'd like to be in an upcoming episode of CaseWatch, you can pledge for the Squirrel Gang tier. And as soon as you do that, it's $10 a month. I'll DM you. We'll work out the details. We can watch whatever you want to do. If you want to just do you and me or a panel, we'll work out all those details. But if you pledge for 3 months consecutively, you get clicked up into the Squirrel Gang, and you get a Patreon-exclusive sticker sent directly to your house so you can rep your set. You ain't got to beat anybody up. You ain't got to murder anybody. You get clicked up in the Squirrel Gang just like that. Ping, ping, poo, done. How great is that, right? So that's all available to you. Put links in the description. Without further ado, we'll jump into the content. Okay? Let's get this.
Let's do it.
Was I at least heard for the record?
I forgot my wallet.
That the audio wasn't on.
I heard it.
Did the record hear it?
Yes.
So they heard me
The
say
record has ears?
subject matter
The record hears everything, sir.
jurisdiction hasn't been
Can't
verified
hear
and
it.
proved yet.
All right.
The record heard you say that every other day you said it as well. Believe me, there's plenty of record stating that you believe there's no fucking subject matter jurisdiction. God, this fucking guy.
No, we need to ask. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just maybe if we took a second and said, "Hey, Darrell, this is what's going to happen. Everything you say is recorded. You see that microphone? Everything's recorded. And that lady over there, she's going to type it all out. And anything she misses, she listens to it again and types it all out. So anything you say out loud is part of the record."
He was
Period.
told that several times. He don't care.
Oh, it's like trying to talk to my 3-year-olds. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, your 3-year-olds probably have better cognitive abilities than Darrell Brooks.
true,
Then again,
true.
a goldfish probably has more cognitive abilities than Darrell Brooks.
Yeah, enough times they're gonna get it. Not Darrell.
You got better chance of getting kicked by a snake than Darrell Brooks does, like in cognizing anything that anybody says.
Yeah, but a lot of that is his willful ignorance, wanting to just distract and delay.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what he's doing. He's just playing a game.
This is true. For everybody listening, that's the one and only Amanda Paige. I feel like we have a celebrity in the house today. I've been looking to get you on here for a long time, so welcome, Amanda.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hey,
Welcome, my twin.
Yes, it's my twin there.
Amanda is my twin.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. And the statement calls next
I
witness.
can't hear it.
State calls Officer Bryce Sholton.
I can't either.
I do.
You guys got no audio. No audio.
No, I
You see
can't
the little. You see the little speaker in the bottom left.
Yeah, it's on.
Is anybody else having trouble with audio?
I
Yeah,
hear it
me
now.
now. Fine. Yes,
for
we
me,
will.
for me, it's lower than a snake's belly button.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's coming in clear in the recording. I'm hearing it fine.
I hear it
No.
fine.
Maybe
As
try
well.
headphones if you're having trouble. Or
Yeah,
you
that's
can, worst case, you can turn on closed captions. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys.
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat.
Yeah,
What
I
I will
can
ask you to do is to state your
definitely
first
help
and last
if you're on
names
your
for the
phone.
record and spell each.
Yeah, I'm on my tablet.
Bryce Skolton, spelled BRYCE.
Yeah, I'm sure if you
Skolton
have
is
headphones at all, even
SCHOL.
wireless ones, it changes the volume completely.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Huge,
Thanks,
night and day.
TEN.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. What line of work are you in?
I'm a police officer for the city of Waukesha.
How long have you been a Waukesha police officer?
7.5 years.
What's your current assignment?
And there he is,
Currently, I'm a
folks.
specialist
Officer
assigned to
Yubo.
the criminal
Yep,
investigation.
our man of the hour.
What about back in November of
Officer
2021?
Redbeard.
What was your assignment back then?
I was a police officer.
Yeah, what did we
Skull.
call him
Working
during,
as a police
what did we call him during the live stream? It was like Yukon Cornelius, right? Oh, still gold. Fumbles bounce.
Officer on November 21st of 2021.
Yes, I was.
Were you assigned to work at the Waukesha Christmas Parade?
Yes, I was.
Do you recall where you were posted during the parade?
My assignment was traffic control at the intersection of Northwest Avenue and Wisconsin Avenue.
Will you please put up for the jury exhibit number 1, which has previously been published?
Go ahead.
The vehicles and the groups and the participants of the parade who were marching on the parade route, where did they go once they got to the intersection of Maine and Wisconsin?
They continued down the parade route, which was eastbound on Wisconsin Avenue, and then after reaching
Eastbound and
Maple
down.
Avenue, then
I
they were
keep
to
on
go
trucking.
southbound.
And the library
Quick
is
question.
at that intersection, is that right?
Yes, sir.
How many blocks is that?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 8 blocks, right?
Yeah.
The parade route you're asking, or how many
Yeah.
until he
About
Yeah,
the
the
whole
parade-
parade.
8 blocks.
Okay, because I was sitting there trying to count it up, but it's not coming out all that well on my phone screen. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll just ask.
Correct.
Traffic coming eastbound on Wisconsin Avenue from the west. Were they able to get through the intersection where you were posted?
No, I had
It's not a short distance. It would take you a good probably 20 minutes, half hour to walk it. Like, it's horrifying to think that he was hitting people basically that entire time. Like, what you would probably take 20 minutes to walk, he was barreling through with his Ford Escape at sometimes speeds of up to 30 miles an hour, just plowing through people. It's truly devastating to recount that. I can only imagine walking down that street now. It must be just so grim.
Yeah, well, that's what they were talking about.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
That's okay. Judge Darrell was talking about how this was like a matter of like a few minutes that all of this happened, and you were even saying yourself, Beefy, this was like a 20-minute walk, and he like plowed through it in like less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's amazing how much destruction and just awfulness he caused in a matter of 3 or 4 minutes to so many people.
There are spree killers that have loaded up submachine guns and tried to find big crowds and didn't hurt or maim as many as Brooks was able to, almost by accident. It's truly horrifying that just in the split second, this argument with Erica somehow was able to be the catalyst for this just horrific event. It's terrible on its face. It's like all the stars had to line perfectly for all these events to come together.
It is so scary, but also so crazy how many people were not injured, like physically. I mean, how many people that it was only 6 people that lost their lives. Like, I'm really surprised that was only that many.
It's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Because to my knowledge, and somebody can correct me on this, I'm sure if I'm wrong, what you was talking about with mass shooters, the closest one that could even come close to this would be the guy in Las Vegas. But
yes,
yeah, Brooks here, he racked up an even bigger body count as far as injuries goes and less death, if memory serves me right. But and that was actually took longer with that shooting as opposed to Brooks running people over. Because, like you say, this is about, 6 blocks, I think it was, or just initial parade restarting hitting. You can walk in about 15 minutes.
The Las
I
Vegas
believe you
shooter,
are right.
he planned that out for years. He stockpiled guns and ammunition, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of between all the ammo and specialty weapons he had, the long range weapons, the hotel room. He had like a suite all to himself with guns mounted at each window. The amount of preparation that went into that Las Vegas shooting, to think that Brooks was able to create devastation at the same levels of that amount of money and time and investment for somebody really deliberately trying to hurt and maim people. The fact that Brooks was able to, with a split-second decision, able to cause as much devastation, it's terrible.
He did worse. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
He did worse than the terrorist attack we had in France on July 14th. And the guy ran into a big crowd of people. I mean, they were all stuck together, these people. And he killed more than this guy.
Yeah.
More injured people with Brooks than this terrorist man.
It's horrific.
I think I messed the video up. I think I fast forwarded it. Oh no, okay. Never mind.
I'm just supposed to make one quick note, and then I'm gonna shut up for a second there. It's like an old wise man once said: "An evil man with evil intentions, he'll do whatever he's got to do to make it act or make that act feasible." I'm sorry about the stuttering on that one.
That is how I had barricades across that intersection, so all eastbound traffic on Wisconsin was forced to go southbound on Northwest Avenue.
Okay, what about traffic approaching from the south on, West Avenue?
Yes, so northbound traffic on Northwest Avenue could only go westbound on Wisconsin Avenue.
Do you recall what you were wearing that day?
Objection, brother.
Yes, I was wearing my standard police uniform with external carrier and a police jacket, and on my outermost layer was a neon traffic vest.
We can take this exhibit down, please.
Quick question, Beefy.
What was that number again?
1.
Thank you. That's what I thought.
Is there video by chance of Officer Sholton actually drawing fire and discharging his weapon at Brooks, or?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, is there? I haven't seen it.
I think that's what they played during his testimony.
Okay. Did we miss that? Because I started right when he came in.
No.
It's the one where Brooks goes back and questions him about can he see the vehicle minus the Nike pants that girl was wearing. It's a screen or pause from that video where he unloads his weapon.
I guess we'll see it then, right? During this testimony, you're saying, Jerry?
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll see it.
It's
Okay,
not a very good view. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, excellent. Okay. I like talking. Okay.
Welcome, Coffee Cake, by the way.
yeah,
Another Darrell
thank you.
Books Community VIP.
Yes.
Very
I'm
common in the...
I'm from. I lived in Appleton for many years, so I know where Waukesha is, and it's just this whole thing is unbelievable that he did
Coffee,
not just flip.
It's really great to meet you. You leave the best
Yes.
comments on all of my
Thank you.
on all my videos, and I'm
Oh,
just so excited to have you
thank
here.
you.
You're such a beautiful
Sure.
person based
Thank
on
you.
the community.
Thank
the
you.
little
I just
comments
love
you've
the
left.
commentary of what he's got. But I mean, he could have flipped around so easily. Like, you know how you're like, he could have flipped around and left so easily, and he just didn't. And that's what's just so. I mean, if you think about it, because remember how all those people were testifying that he was flying down the road, and at that point he could have said F it. I mean, F, you know what I mean, and flipped around. And then when the mom said that he could have went off on the road, you know what I mean, either when she testified, like, I mean, this is later on. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing is so heartbreaking. Exactly. He could have easily stopped. Exactly. And just said, oh, I'm lost. You know what I mean? And he had so many opportunities. So I'm done. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, y'all know that I have 3-year-old twins, and it reminds me so much of them. Like when my son gets mad, and he's 3 years old, and he's just like aggressive, and he's mad that something happened, like I took a toy from him, he will go over to his sister and like slam her shit down too. He's like, oh, I'm gonna yuck her yum. And I'm like, oh my God, that's Darrell.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
like, I'm going to ruin her day too. So that way she's crying with me. Misery loves company. And I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly what happened. He was so mad that he had to go and impede pain on others to, gross.
Darrell brings up a really good point that he brings up as if he was having like a panic attack or whatever and didn't really know what he was doing and just panicked. But to keep going and keep hitting people on its face, it would have been easier for him. At a certain point, he hits like a Y intersection where the barricades, he has enough room for his car to get through. If he was panicking, you wouldn't drive towards police officers. You would veer off and try to get away. He had several opportunities where it would have been less problematic for him to veer off to the left and try to escape, as opposed to veering and swerving into people. I mean, there are several examples where there was enough space for him to get in between people, and he swerved into the parade goers as opposed to just trying to get around them. So he's running over people.
See,
getting in the way of him trying to get away, if that makes sense. It's like it's taking up more of his time to hit the people than it would if he was just trying to get away.
Exactly, but I think he was trying to not hurt his vehicle. That's what I really think. I think he was running out of gas, and I think he just said F it at one point, because he knew he was running out of gas, you guys. And he just said F it.
He kept avoiding vehicles. So where's the panic attack?
Yeah.
Not only that, but also he was looking for the path of least resistance, because big crowd of people versus smaller crowd of people, resistance for the smaller crowd, less damage to the vehicle, he can keep rolling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just shows that it's calculated, and he knew what he was doing. There was thought that went into each person he hit. He made a cognizant decision. I'm going to hit this person with my car.
Very
it's
deliberate.
Like a video game.
And he wanted to make sure that he was able to get back to Milwaukee for not hurting his car.
The only police officer stationed at that intersection?
Yes, I was.
Do you know approximately how far away
After all, he can't damage his house.
Officer would have been?
I believe the next closest officer was approximately 2 blocks away.
Did you have a police radio with you while you were standing in the intersection?
Yes, I did.
At some point, did you hear something on the radio that concerned you?
Yes.
Describe that for us.
I heard... So the parade was on Channel 3, so that's what I was assigned to. These radios also have the ability to scan other channels, so I was scanning Channel 1, which is what the
those
road
police
squads,
radio calls.
They're
Those are awful. Yeah.
At that time, I heard a call for service on Channel 1.
Hearing all the calls. Go ahead.
Doesn't one of the police officers testify at one point that he wasn't even at the parade, but he heard the devastation through the police radio, and that he starts to even break down as he testifies about recalling it.
It was like speechless.
Anybody that heard that.
One at a time, guys.
Go ahead, please.
Call for service on Channel 1 for the road squads to be dispatched to, and it was some sort of domestic disturbance or fight in Frame Park, which was east of my location. I heard squads responding to that from the south portion of the city, and Northwest Avenue or West Avenue is one of the main thoroughfares in our city to get from the southern portion to the northern portion, or at least to the downtown area. And I could hear squads coming from that area, so I blocked traffic to allow the squads to get through, and then I just continued on with my parade duties.
What happened next?
After that, approximately a minute or so later, I believe I started hearing radio traffic on both Channel 3 and Channel 1. I believe either a reserve officer or a community service officer on Channel 3 requested an ambulance somewhere on the eastern portion of the parade route. I remember it was sort of towards the beginning of the parade. They were asking for an ambulance because someone had been hit.
Then what happened?
I believed that it was something stemming from the domestic or the fight, because during that fight someone had fled on scene and someone had been flagged down who had reported this incident. So I believed that the hit was something to do with the physical altercation that had happened. Moments later, this was all sort of spun out of control very quickly. Radio traffic became more and more difficult as Channel 1 and Channel 3, so as officers on the road and officers and community service officers and reserve officers were working the parade, everyone was starting to get on the radio, and more people started calling for ambulances. And then I could tell as people were calling for them, it was moving westbound on the parade route.
What did you do as a result of hearing that information on the radio?
It was tough to piece all together. I didn't know exactly what was going on. I knew something was happening, but I didn't know exactly what. I have a collar mic, so my microphone was approximately right about here on my...
I want to tip my hat to this dude here for putting stuff together so dang quickly, because in that short amount of time, and for him to connect all the pieces together, that is some top tier freaking piecing together. That is absolutely being in the zone, being able to put them pieces together. That right there, you cannot do nothing more than tip your hat to that feller.
He's got good cop instincts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anybody who's ever worked in that, from either the military, law enforcement, or just being a first responder, that kind of stuff just comes quick, and you can't do nothing but just tip your hat to a person like that.
I spent a little bit of time in emergency response, and I can tell you that when you get into these situations where you're responding to, it almost feels like chaos. They actually describe it to you when you're in that training as organized chaos. It's very much the practice of trying to take a chaotic situation and segregate and compartmentalize it as much as possible. So the fact that he is able to, like you said, piece together and try to make cognizant decisions based on what's coming in like all at once. It's like almost information overload. You know, he was able to parse together what's happening best he could. That only comes from like learned experience. You can't teach that. It is somewhat extinction, instincts. Like it's very much you're either born with this ability or you're not. But it only comes from just doing it, just reps. It's like a muscle, that builds up over time.
He definitely has excellent instincts as far as the work that he does, because like John just said, for him to be able to piece that together in the short amount of time and respond the way that he responded, top tier, like top notch. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, because that's something you can try to simulate it in training, but until you actually got your ass in the grass, so to speak, it's hard to get it down to muscle memory and to know what you're going to do in a situation. So for what this fella was able to pull off, I got to tip my hat to the man. Hell, I'll buy him a beer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too.
It's like pro wrestlers, right? Like there are certain moves that are so dangerous they can't really practice it. Like when they do the big stunts off ladders or whatever, like a really crazy move, you really can't practice that because it's so dangerous on its face to try and emulate it. It's not worth it. So you're only going to get those reps live and in the moment when it's actually happening, like when the stakes are high and lives are on the line. So like you said, it's not something that you can train for. You can do the best you can to be prepared in that moment, but that muscle is only going to get built by just doing it, just going to scenes and going to these events, these chaotic events where people's lives are on the line over and over and over again. And you can tell this is a man who has shown up to these types of events several times. It's not like his first rodeo.
So my dad was a paramedic up until he passed away. Like his whole life, he was a medic in the Army, starting at 17 all the way through, and then was a medic, for private. And so like raised in rural paramedic life. And I was a daddy's girl, so like very attached to my dad. But yeah, I mean it's like you're working out that fight, flight, or freeze type of muscle, and you either have that ability to fight and respond, or you don't. And if you have that ability, then you need to like BB said, like work on it, and it only happens over time. But with that, on the other side of that, you are also like burning yourself out. I watched my dad retire, and like it wears on you over time. Even being able to respond to that, like he's burning himself out.
Is he still doing it?
My dad, no. He's long retired.
Oh, that's good.
I think that's a lot of the problem. I mean, not problem, but why so many people? Because when it says fight or flight, all of those people in the parade like rush to help people, and because they hadn't trained, I mean, they haven't had that kind of training and build up. It totally took them by surprise, and that's a lot of how PTSD happens, is because something very traumatic happens. Well, they had to go help. I mean, the whole flight or fight, and they fought, and they're now going through this as well. It just shows you, I mean, the strength of people in any situation.
Chest, I don't have an earpiece. That's just what I use. So between trying to listen to the radio microphone and the parade, it was sort of hard to piece together. But after a few minutes, I realized something was happening, and I began walking away from my post, and I walked past my barricade sort of into the parade route. And as I did that, I was looking more to like northeast. I couldn't see that much of the parade because where West Main Street ends right there, it's got a hard turn to go southbound to Wisconsin. So I could only see approximately, I don't even know, maybe 100 yards or less of the parade route. And at that point, that is when I started hearing more screams. And this time it wasn't just screams on my radio. It was screams like in my vicinity that I could hear. And at that moment, I saw a red blur come past the Wisconsin House
you're gonna get rid
westbound and make a very
like
hard
Godzilla's coming
maneuver to navigate the left-hand turn on West Main Street to go
there, and let's put
southbound.
Exhibit 1. Sorry, let's put Exhibit 1 back up, please. You mentioned the...
Wow, he just describes it as a red blur. That is bone-chilling.
You in a line, partner.
Describe for us where that is.
The Wisconsin House is actually this building right here that is tan. It's the farthest building right before, I guess, on the left portion.
You just put a little dot there.
That should be the Wisconsin House.
Right as the Main Street curves to the left there.
Correct. It is I believe it's the last building sort of on West Main Street right before the left turn.
So if you were standing in the intersection of Wisconsin and Main, the Wisconsin House is the building that would obstruct your view further east up Main Street?
Correct. There's a parking lot to the left as you look at the screen, and the vehicle's parked there, so I can't even see pretty much anything in front of the Wisconsin House on Main Street from my location.
What happened as the red blur rounded the corner?
I realized what was happening at that point. I recognized it was a red SUV, and there was extreme vehicle damage to it on the front. The hood was smashed up towards the windshield.
I wonder if he was able to parse together in that moment when he sees he hears all the chaos on the radio, and he sees this red blur coming towards him, and then he sees all the damage. His brain probably connected the dots that, oh my God, this guy is plowing through people. Because he pulls out his pistol right away and starts shooting at it, if I remember. We're going to hear it in a second, but...
Yeah, he talks about how he finally pieced it together when Darrell Brooks is cross-examining him. He talks about how he pulled it together.
We'll hear it then, yeah.
Yeah.
Front portion, the front bumpers, the fenders, everything was...
Powerful testimony.
There's extreme vehicle damage. Like vehicle damage that you would see at a...
That's why I call him Officer U-Boat. He sunk his ass.
At that point, between all the screaming I heard, everyone calling for ambulances and help, and then realizing people hit, I knew it was now people hit by a vehicle, and I knew that those initial requests were so far eastbound on the parade, and now I'm towards the end of the parade, or at least the end of the portion of Main Street. I knew that this vehicle had likely, and based on the speed of the vehicle, that the vehicle had ran through the entire parade route and likely severely injured people or killed people. And at that point, I thought it was a terror attack at the parade.
I love this guy.
Continued southbound.
As the vehicle navigated its turn southbound.
Yeah, he's great. He's definitely helping the state's case immensely. This testimony is powerful.
It accelerated towards me.
Between him, Erica, and Corey, and I believe Nick as well. Those were the biggest witnesses there, nailing Brooks's, putting the nail in the coffin for Brooks. Everybody else was just icing on the cake.
Yeah, Kathleen Darrell and Bobby Oz were important witnesses too, even though they're Brooks's.
And Bun Steele too.
Yeah, both of Bone Steels.
Yeah.
I was just making the top 3 or top 4 personally.
Yeah.
Threat.
Yeah, I thought Bone Steel was going to come unglued.
You're talking about Mr. Bone Steel, right?
Yeah,
Mr.
He was surprisingly calm with Brooks. Yeah, I got the same vibe when he was testifying for the state that he might kind of give Brooks a little razz, but he composes himself and conducts himself professionally. We've talked about it a lot on these case watches, but I really believe the state sat down each witness and told them, don't give him anything. Let's beat this guy on the case. Like let's take it to him through the case itself. Like let's not bring ourselves down to his level, so to speak, and engage him in like a battle of wits on the stand, because it'll just serve to aid his defense and gum up the works. Let's just submit a clean case and get him convicted. That's how we win. That's how we get justice.
They prepped their witnesses so well. Like you said, they were so contained. But with Mr. Bone Steel, you could see just like that simmer. His was just right below the surface. You know what I mean? Yeah. Especially when Darrell Brooks was going after his wife when she was on the stand. He didn't like that.
Yeah. How do you not be protective of your wife in that situation, too? Especially against such a monster. I don't know if I have the self-control to compose myself the way he did testifying after that, because I would have gone into, Papa Bear mode.
And just as a fun fact, I mean, not that it's a fun fact, but the Bone Steels, they had just met Jane Kulik that day. Wow. They had never met her before.
No way.
She worked at a different branch. She had just started like a year before, maybe not even a year before because of COVID and stuff. But because she was just working at one of the branches, and they probably needed a volunteer from every branch. You know what I mean? We need you to do this parade. And she was like, yeah, I'll do it.
So awful.
But they had just met her that day.
And that decision cost her life. That's so tragic. Just trying to be a good person and contribute to her community, and she lost her life because of it. Oh my God. Makes me so sad.
I tell you, Beefy, I might have been in the same boat with you. If that had been me on the stand and that was my wife, my honey biscuit that almost got hit, I wouldn't be able to control myself. I'm taking that 30-day contempt charge with a smile.
Not only his wife, but his kids too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm taking that contempt charge, yo. I'm going in a lockup with a smile.
Yep.
Yeah.
The vehicle was approaching me. I remembered making the decision that the easiest shot likely would have been through the windshield. However, I remembered the entire backdrop were just surrounded with kids and people. So I waited for the vehicle to pass me and tried to direct my rounds as most southern as I could, because there were less people in that direction.
Where were you standing in the intersection as the vehicle passed you?
At this point, I had walked northbound slightly, so I was, I believe, just out of the intersection at West in Wisconsin. So I was on, I believe my shots, I was technically on Main Street at the time when I began shooting.
That had to be the hardest
Using
thing.
Cardinal directions, can you describe for us?
Figure out about shooting. Make the decision to shoot. I'm like going, and he even said it, he's like going, trying to figure out the best way to go without anyone else possibly getting hurt and everything like that. And going through your mind as cars coming towards you. And I mean, and he just sounded so, he felt so guilty. I don't know about guilt or pain of having to shoot, because he was so scared of hurting anyone else.
Yeah, these cops, they take the discharge of their weapon very seriously. They're not, I mean, most police officers anyways, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are some trigger-happy ones, but most of them even drawing their pistol as like a last resort, where it's like their life against someone else's. So the fact that he was able to make that decision in that split-second moment just speaks again to his instincts as a police officer, that the situation was warranting that.
I can tell you from firsthand personal experience when it comes to drawing your weapon in a law enforcement setting, there are so many things you are running through your brain in nanoseconds. In the time that it takes to blink your eyes, you got to make all these decisions. You know, is it lawful? Is it unlawful? Is it safe? Is it not
Lawful
safe?
law? Is it lawful law?
Yeah.
You got to make all these decisions in the time that it takes to blink your eyes. And then you also got to be aware of your surroundings, where people are. There are so many factors that are coming in just in the time that it takes to blink your eyes to make that final decision of shoot, don't shoot. There's just so many.
And so much can go wrong. I mean, you make the wrong decision in that split second and somebody's life could be taken. It's a delicate balance they have to walk. It's like a very it's a razor thin tightrope.
Especially in a situation like this, because not only was he trying to stop what he called the threat of Darrell Brooks, you know, with shooting his car, but there were so many other people that could have gotten hurt, children, whoever, and he made the decision to go ahead and do it.
Made the right call. He almost took him out. He missed him by a few inches.
Yep.
Because you got to factor in where people are positioned. You also got to factor in possible ricochet, possible missing, over penetration. There are so many factors running through your brain in those nanoseconds, man.
One of the bullets goes through the windshield and then exits out the rear windshield. So it actually is like a miracle that nobody got hit with that many people running around and everything.
Yeah.
Which side?
Worth it though. If he had killed Brooks there, he probably would have I think all the people that got hit that died had been hit already, but he still could have saved a lot more people.
They did also say if Erica stayed in the car, she would have been hit and killed because the bullet came right through the passenger seat.
Oh, that's horrifying.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Of you.
This objection right here that's fixing to happen is one of my favorites. What is Cardinal?
The witness may answer.
The vehicle passed to the east.
What did he say?
He doesn't know what cardinal directions are, so he objected. What is cardinal?
No.
Let's hear it. Hang on.
As the vehicle passed you.
At this point, I had walked northbound slightly, so I believe, just out of the intersection at West in Wisconsin. So I was on, I believe my shots, I was technically on Main Street at the time when I began shooting.
Using cardinal directions, can you describe for us which side of you the SUV passed? Objection, please. Cardinal.
The witness may answer.
The vehicle passed to the east of me.
What direction were you facing as it first started to pass you?
I was facing north.
So that would have been the vehicle would have passed you on your right.
Correct.
Okay. How close
Objection,
did you
Your Honor.
come to the vehicle as it passed you?
It was very close.
Objection, Your Honor. I don't know what a cardinal has anything to do with this. We ain't bird watching. We in court.
Miss Judge.
I remember stepping to my left. It was so close I felt like I could touch
Miss
the side of the
Judge.
vehicle.
I love that one.
Could you see into the
And
Yes, I could.
And cardinals are also the people around the Pope.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was gonna say. Was like the religion?
Yeah. So it goes with the unbiblical cord.
The
unbiblical cords and the Cardinals.
Wait, hold on. We talk about Cardinals. We talk about the baseball team?
inside the vehicle?
I saw one person.
Where is that person?
That was good, Charlotte.
That person was at the driver's seat of the vehicle.
Did you get a good look at the driver?
Yes, I did.
Do you see the driver in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Your Honor, I'd ask Mr. Brooks please remove his mask for a moment.
Thank you for doing that, Mr. Brooks.
Yeah.
Can you identify the driver in the courtroom?
Mask on, mask off.
Yes, the driver is.
Now
seated
here
at the
he
fence
doesn't point out
wearing
that he's
blue
not
tie,
Mr.
blue
Brooks.
shirt underneath his suit jacket.
It's a man.
It is.
The record reflects the witness
That's him. He's sitting right there.
The witness has identified the defendant as the driver of the vehicle he saw on November 21.
What happened after the vehicle passed you on your right?
After the vehicle passed...
Yeah, he's definitely trying to pull his intimidating crap, and it is not working with this guy. Not working whatsoever.
Oh no, this guy has zero fucks to give about about Darrell Brooks trying to intimidate him.
It's like Pokemon. It's not very effective.
Dude's about as intimidating as a kitten.
Yeah.
At the driver of the vehicle.
A confused kitten.
Yeah, without the motor.
Pokemon.
As that happened,
Pokemon against the Hulk.
Ran over the barricades and ultimately left the parade route and continued southbound on Northwest Avenue.
West Avenue is how many blocks from Maple Avenue?
1 block.
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
Relevancy.
To what direction is west from Maple?
West Avenue is 1 block to the west from Maple.
Oh, get the drinks out for the Brooks drinking game. Take a shot for objection.
Exhibit number 57. You see a video on the screen in front of you?
Yes, I do.
We've played 7 seconds for you. Do you recognize this video?
Yes, I do.
What does it show?
This is the vehicle that was driven by Darrell Brooks during the Christmas parade that drove past me and I shot at.
Objection. I don't consent to her being called that name, or nor do I identify.
I love when he does that.
Noted, it's overruled. The witness has previously identified you. Go ahead.
You said nothing.
Let me ask you the next question.
Does this video...
I like that she just rolls right past. She's like, no, he identified you. It's you. That's you.
Accurately depict.
I swear to God, dude. I wish that edit instead would have just one time would have been like, what is your name? Brooks, Darrell, Brooks.
You're taking the hobbits to Isengard. God.
So maybe Beefy can do it for us.
Yeah.
In his edit.
Put that in post for you.
Dude. 7 into evidence and request permission to publish.
Exhibit 57 is received by the court and permission to publish is granted.
Before we hit play, I'd like you, if you can, to point out the Wisconsin house for us.
The Wisconsin house is this brown brick building here on the right that has the Golden Moments Gentleman Beer sign right here.
Wow, there you hear the shots, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You can hear the chaos.
How many gunshots did you hear in that video?
3.
Is that consistent with your memory of the event?
Yes, it is.
Can we pull that back up at about the 10-second mark? Do you see yourself at the 10-second mark?
Yes, I do.
Can you circle yourself for us? You're the only person at this 10-second mark wearing a yellow vest.
Correct.
Okay, we can clear that, please. Can we slow this down with no audio? Slow it down to about 50%, please. And play from there.
Oh, here we go.
So scary.
Wow, that's crazy.
He almost had him, y'all.
Oh, wow. I've never seen this part.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yes. Somebody helped. I mean, this is somebody's video that they turned in.
Yeah.
So this isn't even, can you imagine holding the camera that steady? It's shaking.
Yeah.
No kidding. I ain't gonna lie. If I was the one holding the camera watching that, I'd be shaking like a dang Parkinson's patient in the middle of a freaking earthquake or something after drowning a whole bunch of Red Bulls.
Yep.
The video accurately reflect what you did that day?
That is correct.
Okay. I'd like to show for the witness only, please, exhibit number 170.
Go ahead.
Do you recognize this photograph?
Yes, I do.
What does it show?
This shows the vehicle damage that I observed when I first saw the vehicle as it was coming towards me. This is the vehicle that was, again, driven the Christmas parade by Darrell Brooks.
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name again.
Shut up.
For the record, I'm here in entire party.
What is your name?
Brooks.
The objection on the record.
Does this appear to be a screenshot from the
Others
video we
wasn't
just watched?
listening or
Exhibit 57?
caring.
It does appear so.
I don't consent to being called that name. I'm Darnisha. Get it right, bitches. To the block.
Depiction of how the vehicle looked that day?
That is correct.
I move Exhibit 170 into evidence and ask to publish.
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. Exhibit 170 is receive permission.
Relevancy. We just saw him shoot your car. What's the relevancy in seeing pictures of those bullet holes? How is that relevant? Fucking idiot.
To publish is granted.
I bet you what it is. He's got like a little dial or something right there on his desk with like a little spinner on it. And every time he objects, he just thumps it or flicks it or something. And whatever it lands on, that's what he hollers. Like, objection, relevancy, leading the witness.
I pictured like the Dungeons and Dragons dice, like one of the 5-sided ones. And it's just like, oh, relevancy, oh, hearsay.
See, and I saw it as like a magic 8-ball.
Yeah.
shake, you know.
Nah, Beefy, you got it right. He rolls a D4 for it. Whenever it comes up, that's what he rolls. Like, okay, let me roll my D4 and relevancy. Okay, now I got to roll now I got to roll a D20, see if it comes up, it works or not. Roll a 1.
He's like a level -10 fucking lawyer in Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, and if you notice,
-10 attorney.
If you notice, when he does win an objection, like objection hearsay or objection leading, and she'll say overruled instead of sustained, that's his next 10 objections are that.
Yeah. So true. Jackass. It's like, oh, I got it. That's the one. That's the one that works.
Now he sounds like he's playing Magic the Gathering or something. Like, your next 10 objections are this.
Yeah. You've activated my trap card.
And once again, that comments made by parties and lawyers are not evidence.
You got a minute to tap that.
Thus not be considered as such.
Now I'd like to show for the witness only exhibit number 169, please.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Do you recognize this
Whoa.
Yes, I do.
What is it?
This is that same vehicle. It appears to be just moments after that.
Hard for him to look at that. Look at his face. Awful, awful, awful.
I wish his the steering wheel. Why didn't it pop open? Don't they? What is that called again?
The airbag.
Airbag.
Yes. Why didn't
Doesn't
the airbag
have any.
go off? He really?
You didn't have any?
I think he turned it off.
I guess not.
It could be that it was turned off, or now I'm not a mechanic, so I can probably be wrong here. And if I am, somebody will correct me. I'm hoping more than likely will. With some vehicles, depending on how much force hits the front end, will make the airbag deploy or not.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was hit
funny
all in the
though,
magic
if it did.
spots. Sorry, I just talked on somebody.
No, I said it would have been nice if it went off, because all that would have, you know what I mean? He would have probably stopped at that point.
He could have also just had them turned off, or with the car being the age that it was, they could just not be working.
Yeah.
Or he could have sold them.
Does this appear to be a screenshot from the video in Exhibit 57?
Yes, it does.
Believe that.
Accurate depiction of how the vehicle and the driver looked to you that day?
Yes.
Move Exhibit
They use it to
169.
sleep at night.
There he is. Look at him. That's definitely him, too. Wow.
I mean, and the window
And,
is down, so I wonder what point he
Yeah.
he put the windows down.
He wanted to hear it. He wanted to hear it. Why else would
And
you roll
see
down the passenger window?
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't see out of the windshield.
Oh. What? Again, though, why the passenger side? I guess,
Well,
yeah.
I think the passenger and the driver's side were already rolled down because the windshield was cracked. I'm assuming early on from the first impact, so he was probably I don't know. I've never driven through a parade, so I'm sure that he probably was also freaking out too. Because he's like, I'm gonna get my ass chewed out. My mom's gonna kill me.
What a psycho.
My mama gonna be mad at me because I wrecked my house.
Somebody pointed this out. The time frame in which she's ordering Brooks the Uber was the same time period she was calling the police to report him in as stolen the vehicle. So she's very much could be culpable as an accomplice if she's doing both those acts at the same time. That's
100%.
She knew. She knew.
She knew.
She knew.
She knew shit was going down. Yeah, absolutely.
Denying into evidence and asked to publish.
Objection.
It's just can a DA charge her is the question.
What?
It's just can a DA charge her for possibly being an accomplice after the fact? That's the question.
Yeah.
You can probably go after civilly, but not criminally.
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying. Because technically her car, like technically any of those victims could sue her for their medical damages, medical costs. But I think because of the victim relief fund, a lot of people were already compensated. So there could be like, technically that might qualify as insurance fraud if you already got paid out by the victim relief fund. So, I don't know.
I think they're just waiting.
Pain and suffering.
Yeah.
I think they're waiting to see if she goes after like a book deal or a movie deal. They're sitting on that civil case. It's what I'm thinking. All these people that were hurt, they're waiting to see if either one of them are going to try to profit from this in any way, and then they're going to go after her.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope
where there's money, people will smell it out. They're like, it's like ants or cockroaches, you know what I mean? Or like bed bugs. They can smell it like a mile away, and they find their way to get
Mosquitoes.
viewers into it.
Noted. Overruled.
You know, if they did make a movie about this entire situation, what I would love for them to do, just to really piss Brooks off, anytime, don't have him on camera like hardly at all. Maybe like a back shot or something, just showing the back of his head or something. And deafen his volume down to where you can barely hear him in the movie, to where you literally got to be straining your ears to hear him. Oh, that'll fire him off so much.
Who's the guy in Parks and Recreation that plays Ron Swanson?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Nick Offerman. Nick Offerman would play this guy, Sholton. I can just picture it. With the beard. That'd be great.
He's our millennial. He's our millennial Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Yes, I do.
What is it?
And something else in that movie do as well. Never say Darrell Brooks' name. Treat it just like Spartacus, Blood and Sand. How they did it to where they never said what his real name was. Yeah. Every time they got ready to, something would cut it off.
Like Voldemort.
Different point of view from that same intersection.
Is this an accurate video depicting the events as you saw them on November 21st?
Yes, it does.
Move Exhibit 58 into evidence and ask to publish with the caveat about the comments on the right side of the screen, please.
Objection.
Exhibit 58 is received. Permission to publish is granted. The jury will disregard
ignored it.
the comments that are on the right side of the exhibit. Those are not to be considered as evidence.
Judge used ignore. It was effective.
Play it once at regular speed with audio, please.
What? Stop writing. Like, she ignoring me? He's enjoying it.
Yeah.
Look at that.
We see the
So watch this now.
Is that right?
That is correct.
And do you recall what those are made out of?
I believe they're made out of fiberglass or plastic.
And what we saw in that video, again, that's inaccurate. Does that match up with how you recall the incident?
That is correct.
That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Any questions for this witness, sir?
I do.
Shocking.
You stated initially that you had heard some radio calls about a possible altercation at Frame Park.
That is correct.
Do you recall what the initial report of that was?
My recollection of that was that there was a call for service. It was either a domestic or some sort of physical altercation along the riverfront in Frame Park, and that there was a male with a armed with a knife and that he was fleeing from the area.
So it was reported it was a possible knife involved and there was a male running from the scene?
That is correct.
And were you ever given any further information about the male with the knife that was running from the scene?
No.
Any information that the male with a knife running from the scene was in a vehicle at any time?
Oh, dear
Do you
Lord.
know if any investigation was done looking into that?
He's so hung up on that.
That was the guy. Yeah. The mysterious Mr. Knife Man was the one who was also driving the Ford Escape. So he was knifing people at Frame Park, and then somehow was also running people over in the parade route. Gotcha, Mr. Brooks. Yeah. That's what happened.
No. You see what had happened. Oh, I'm sorry. You see what? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go.
I was gonna say, you see what had happened was, okay, the Sandwich was holding Darrell Brooks hostage in the SUV, right? Okay, his mama's SUV was possessed by a Kandarian demon because Marcus read the Necronomicon wrong, and that's what all this happened. Okay, and I had to cut my dreads off with a chainsaw, okay, because the demon got into my dreads. If the chainsaw don't fit, you must have quit. The Evil Dead defense.
This is Chewbacca.
I did not learn anything of it. I just know that squads were responding there to investigate it. I was not updated on their findings or what they had investigated. I just know that they were dispatched there for that investigation.
Do you recall if there was ever a knife recovered or a suspect recovered in that supposed incident?
Do you mean like how much later do I know? Like what I know now?
At any time, do you know if there was a suspect?
Why would you ask that? If you're trying to put out the narrative that there's a crazy knife-wielding maniac that's also running people over on the parade route, wouldn't it serve that narrative much better to leave it open-ended about whether or not there was a knife recovered?
Makes no sense.
Yeah, he's dumb.
This guy's about as smart as a freaking bag of rocks.
Yeah. He was
say
just fishing for information at this point. He could care less if it helped his case or not.
It's almost like he's curious himself. Like, did they ever find a knife? Like, he wants to know. It's so stupid. That information is probably in his case file too.
Like in the background.
Like in the interrogation.
Look at the bailiff in the background.
Oh yeah, we saw that before too. He's passed out.
Or anything that was found with a knife, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, I do not know if the suspect
from back here looked like it's playing Angry Birds,
which was you, was located with a knife.
What do you mean?
You, Darrell Brooks. I know you were the suspect in that incident. I know you were
Darrell Brooks
taken into custody approximately 30
And to say that,
minutes
looking
later.
at the jury, as he loves
you were
it.
armed when you were taken into custody.
I'll let the record reflect that I do not identify by that name, nor do
What's your name?
I know any individual by that name. I'm here in third party.
Darrell.
At the time, you said, did you respond to that incident at the park?
No.
So how?
He was too busy shooting at you. Remember we just talked about that. The him shooting you part. We watched that clip. Remember that happened, Darrell?
And protecting people.
But who is you?
How can you know who was involved with it if you didn't respond yourself?
Because you stated at any time this investigation took a long time to complete, and from this investigation we determined that you were the suspect in that investigation.
You determined that?
I did not, no.
Okay. So basically, you're just going off what you were told. Because you just stated that you didn't.
Oh.
So stupid! Oh, I can't believe he's like just grasping at the thinnest of fucking straws. Like, oh, so you didn't establish that yourself? No. We as a collective, we call ourselves the police. We investigate this shit. Oh my god, he's so fucking dumb. Like as if the jury is down to be like, well, yeah, That's a really good point. I mean, he didn't verify it was him himself, even though he saw him driving the fucking car. Ugh.
And I only shot at you 3 times and
really
saw you clearly in the driver's seat, but no.
We have footage of you at both fucking sites. Jesus Christ.
But you didn't know my name prior to this. No, I didn't know your name because I didn't exactly have time to stop and get your ID when you were, playing freaking Grand Theft Auto with your mama's SUV.
Yeah, exactly.
And fucking objection relevance. I don't give a shit what your name is. I saw your face, just like the other guy. You. Like I'm looking at you. I saw you.
Yeah.
Ah, but who is you? Are you or am I me? Are we?
Determination, nor did you investigate. Would that be fair to say?
That's correct.
You also gave.
Who are any of us?
And when you were asked the question,
who am I?
But I am me. But are you?
Along the route, or I don't know if that was.
The cheese stands alone.
Side exits or anything of that nature, but I recall you stating that you gave an estimate, stating that you weren't sure.
What if we're
where
Venom?
the officers
Then we are
were stationed, but you gave an approximate estimate. Would that be fair to say?
That is correct.
And would that have been officers stationed at different cross streets?
That is correct.
Do you know if those cross streets were barricaded?
I know.
It's really hard to take him seriously when his mask is inside out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that drives me crazy.
Hard to take him serious at any time, but the mask can't help with things, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You're looking at him like, dude, do you know that this is inside out? Do they just not give you another one? So it's like underwear, you just wear it like frontwards one day, backwards one day.
Oh.
Extra days.
Camping rules.